The first National Inaugural Agricultural Food Security and Economic Summit was recently held at the Jamaica Conference Center in Kingston. The summit, held by the Jamaica Agricultural Society, assembled different stakeholders of the sector to dissect issues that faces growth of Jamaica's food security, as well as to propose as a group methods to aid in its growth.
The conference is held against a very important context. This year, 2015, is International Year of Soils, as celebrated by the FAO, which follows the era of family farming. So, the objective of this summit includes the development of strategies, recommendations that will increase the Jamaica agricultural production by an average of 10% per annum over the next 5 years. Hence, moving our domestic crop production from 615 metric tons currently to 1 million metric tons by the year 2020. In addition to the increased levels of traditional crops, livestock and fisheries, nutraceutical, forestry and tree crops from their current levels of production closer to the demands levels by 2020.
The initiative was endorsed by the Food and Agriculture Organization. Dr. Gillian Smith, Assistant FAO Representative, focused on food security and its importance.
To speak of food security, we really need to talk about it in its full sense. There are 4 pillars of food security. Availability is one of the most important ones, and it is one that is clearly very heavily emphasized in the agenda here. It is clearly very heavily emphasized by the work that most of us do on a day-to-day basis. There is also stability. What is our ability to obtain food over time? Access is the 3rd pillar. This speaks to our ability to purchase food. The last pillar that I want to mention is utilization. And this is a pillar that I believe in Jamaica is extremely important at this time. For the first time in many years, globally, and I would also suspect nationally, but I don't know this as a fact, there are more people who have obesity and overnutrition in the world than there are people who are undernourished. And this is a critical point. It speaks very clearly to how we are using the nutrition and the nutritional value of the food that we are producing and consuming.
Official opening of the summit and keynote address was given by the Honorable Luther Buchanan, State Minister of the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries.
We are here to strategize and to agree on how we will work together to redouble our efforts in order to meet and surpass our production targets as we seek to achieve food security and economic independence for our people. The Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries understands and is committed to succeeding in this country's thrust to achieve food security and economic prosperity. We are aware of the negative voices some places in the public domain, which purport to have all the right answers as to what the sector should or should not do. But I am aware that some of those voices continue to buy imported over locally produced. However, I applaud those who have joined the Eat What You Grow campaign and is supporting local agricultural produce on the shelves and in the marketplace.
We now look at snippets of presentations for the topic domestic crop production. Moderator of the session, Senator Norman Grant, opened the floor with the production of domestic crops as his subtopic.
As I set the framework, the issue of marketing is critical extension service. How can we create mini agri-parks that rather than just focusing on mass agri-parks, how can we go cluster farming? How can we ensure that we have adequate financing? And thank God, President Pottinger, and I participated in the passage of an amendment to the Risk Management Act, where under the Ministry of Local Government, a national disaster fund is now in place that will provide coverage for farmers who suffer during a disaster. I'd like to conclude my presentation by saying that there is going to be a critical need for us to go through this list, to select and speak around crops where there are opportunities and where there are great opportunities for growth and where there are competitive advantage. And by this I mean, you know, we can not only grow for the local industry, but we can also grow for export. The involvement of youth and women, you know, is critical in that process. And I think this summit need to find a vehicle where we can actively promote the whole question of youth and women in agriculture. And finally, our infrastructure. We have to pay attention to our rural and our farm roads.